Welcome. Today let's talk about laptop storage devices. If you've been to a shop before or maybe on the internet, for example, WhatsApp, to buy a laptop, you will see that every laptop comes with specifications. In this specification section, they will write the storage size of the laptop, being it HDD or SSD. And if you compare the prices, you could see that the SSD types are kind of expensive compared to the HDD. So why the difference? In this video, we'll be talking about that. And at the end of this video, you'll be able to also identify the type of storage device you have, and you'll be able to tell if it's the best for you or you will need to change it. And if you have to change it, you will know the best to choose for yourself. All that you see on the table are storage devices, but basically you can group them into external and internal. Being it external or internal, your hard disk is going to either be an SSD or HDD. So what are the difference? SSD means solid state drive and HDD means hard disk drive. So the HDD is the old one that was in the system, and recently we are having a new one in the system, which is the SSD. So what makes the difference? Because this affects the price of the laptop. Mind you, your internal storage device has influence on the speed of your laptop, and that's why it is important to know the type of storage device you are using. So let's compare them, HDD and SSD. First of all, we are talking about the power consumption. So on your battery, the HDD is going to consume a lot of power, and therefore your battery will not last that much compared to the SSD. So SSD is kind of power efficient. When we look at the cost, HDD is cheaper compared to SSD. The amount you pay for a particular gigabyte in SSD, you will pay maybe 1/3 of that for HDD. Capacity, as expected, it's easier to get a higher capacity at a cheaper price. So it's kind of the same point over there. The booting time, it's because HDD, its speed is as far as 150 to 160 megabytes per second. Its booting time is around 30 to 1 minute and even sometimes to 1 minute 30 seconds. But that of SSD has more than that, a minimum of 500 megabytes or more, which we'll be looking at the type of SSDs too in this video. So let's continue. Comparing the weight to SSD is very light compared to the HDD, and so the HDD is going to add weight to your laptop, making it heavier than that of the SSD. So let's put the HDD aside and focus on the SSD. So the SSDs, we have them in two ways based on the interface they use to communicate with the motherboard. So we have the SATA SSDs and we have that of the NVMe SSDs. So which of them are you having? Let me know that in the comment section. Aside the two mentioned, that is the SATA SSD and NVMe SSD, we have the mSATA and we also have the M.2 SATA SSD. So in this video, we'll be looking at only two, which is the SATA SSD and the NVMe SSD. As I already mentioned, the SATA SSD, the highest speed you can get is 600 megabytes per second. Comparing that to the HDD, it seems better. It has a better speed. But when we are comparing this SATA SSD to that of the NVMe, we have generations from 3, 4, 5. And all these generations come with different speed. The third generation for NVMe can go as far as 3,500 megabytes per second. The fourth generation can go as far as 7,000 megabytes per second. And the fifth generation, which is 14,000 megabytes per second, which is way higher than that of the 600 megabytes per second. So if you're buying an SSD or if you're buying a laptop and they tell you this is an SSD laptop, you should make sure you get to know which SSD they are giving you. Is it SATA, mSATA, M.2 SATA, or NVMe SSD? Which of them? Because each of them has its own speed. But one thing to know is that all those with SATA attached to their names, the highest speed they have is 600 megabytes. And also, if you have HDD laptop and you want to change to SSD, you can change it to the SATA SSD because the two of them use the same interface. The HDD and the SATA SSD, they have the same interface, which is the SATA. So you can easily change from HDD to that. But if you are trying to change from HDD to mSATA or M.2 SATA, you will need a converter, and that's going to take you a lot. And at the end, you getting maybe NVMe inside your laptop, which came with HDD. At the end, if the interface is a SATA interface on your motherboard, it's going to limit that your new storage device to the speed that's to that of maybe your motherboard. So if your motherboard is given the speed of 600 megabytes based on the SATA it is using, and you converted NVMe to SATA form to use it in your laptop, you will never get 14,000 megabytes per second, even if you are using the fifth generation of NVMe inside it. So you should know that the laptop you're buying should correspond to the right specifications you're looking for, so that at the end you get the best out of it. So that's all for today. If you're looking for a laptop to buy too, you can contact me. I have legit sources over there in Ghana that you can get a laptop to buy. And if you're in Morocco, I equally have a legit source over here for you. So let's connect and we'll be able to help you get one at a very affordable price, a reliable one. Yes, something cheap and durable, not just cheap and volatile. That's it for today. Any question, just leave it in the comment section. I'll be there to answer you. Any suggestion too is welcome. That's me today, Emmanuel here. See you in another one. Bye.